Okay, so I turned the video off for a moment because I felt like I was stuttering around, and so I went ahead and did some things, and I'm going to tell you about them. I glued this tag on. It was another one of those little punch tags that I made, and I glued. This is a real starfish, and I can't tell you where to get it. I live near the beach, so I glued the starfish on. And then I laid out these shell shapes and the one flower. This is the bigger flower, the 2-inch. And then I thought, I want to bling this up like I did, the very first page. So I got out my my little jar of button embellishments, and I added some of those around. And while I was at it, I said, what if I took the glossy accents and put that here? And what if I mixed up some of all those recollections fun in a jar items? So I took this lid, which is pretty hilarious because it has static, so they all keep jumping out. But I just sprinkled some in. I put the glossy accents on. You can't really see the design maybe right now because I've got them thrown everywhere. But that is drying, and when it's dry, I'll dump them off and let you have a look. I did notice too that in the prior part of the video you didn't get to see the bottom of these pages, so once this is dry I will go back and let you see what I was doing there. Sorry. In the meantime, I think if I can lay this down flat where it'll dry, we can go ahead over here. This is a frame that I cut out. It's very simple. I just did a scalloped ocean type design on the inside, and I actually made a mistake. Let me show you how to fix this one kind of mistake. This is the inside edge, and remember how I kept saying don't glue the paper over here? Well, I did. I put the paper on the wrong side, so I've just added some washi tape here. Washi tape is our friend, and that way I can come over a little bit to my left with the frame. And I thought I would put Rise and Shine, It's Beach Walking Time up above that, and a couple of flowers maybe on this page as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Now the Rise and Shine was a little sign that I bought. It's a sticker, and it's kind of raised up on it. It looks to me like fun foam. It looks like you could take some of that kids fun foam and glue a sign onto it and have this same kind of thing. And then I put it on the off-white paper, and I didn't like that, so I went ahead and put the black behind it to make it stand out. Now, as usual, on my frame, I'm going to put glue on the bottom and the two sides and leave room to slide the photo in from the top. Okay. I think that's exactly how I want those. This paler colored one has been spritzed with some of the glimmer mist. The other one has not. I was debating whether to spritz that one before I glue it down. I don't know. I think I'll go ahead and glue it down. Okay. So there's that. Now there's one more thing. This is the main page, and this is the fold out. And you want the fold out to have a way to remain folded over. I tried putting the magnets on. I only have these small magnets, which have always worked very well for me, but to go through this many layers, it didn't work as far as just gluing one like here and one on the fold in page. So I said, well, I'll make a tab. And so what I was going to do is make it like this. Well, that still didn't work. So I ended up, what I've done is I've put two magnets. So if you're using the small Bow Bunny magnets like I am, you'll want to, let me measure this and I'll tell you how big it is. Remember that my page is exactly about 8 1/4 tall. So I folded it over. This is a 1/2 inch and this is a 1/4 inch. What I did is I scored at a 1/2 and scored again a 1/4 inch later, because you're going to want it to fold, because you're going to have some space here taken up with these pages and with your embellishments and your ephemera and all that. So I scored that there, and I'm going to have to pull this loose. It's going to go underneath that page. Then I did the same thing down here. I scored at, that looks bigger than a 1/2. And it is a little bit bigger than a 1/2. And then the 1/4 inch score. So this whole thing is 1 1/2 inches wide. In fact, I think this was one of those scraps I had shaved off that I told you I keep everything. And the length is 10 1/4. And I only had the 8 inch long paper, so I glued it. Nobody's going to see it. They'll never notice. Okay, so here's a redo, because I noticed that you couldn't see what I was doing with this this belly band that I made. And so let me begin again. This measures 1 1/2 wide, and I think it's just one of those scraps that I had cut off from one of these other sheets. So 1 1/2 wide, and it's 10 1/4 inches long. Now I did not have 10 1/4 paper. I only had 8 inch long paper, so I wish I had done this where you could see it. I've glued two together. Nobody's going to notice. I overlapped it by about a 1/2 inch. And then I scored on both ends. I scored first at a 1/2 inch, then a 1/4 beyond that. And that is because the 1/4 is for depth, so that it holds all these pages inside it with no problem. The other end, I did the same thing. Scored a 1/2, then move along a 1/4 inch and score there. Okay. Then I cut this pattern paper to go on it, and then I let me back up. I put 2 of my magnets. It took 2 because these are the small bow bunny magnets. So if these are what you're using, which is what I've always used, it ended up having to have 2 because I guess I've got so much paper here to hold on to. So I stuck 2 in the center here. Then I stuck my other 2 on, really on the front side of my band, because when you flip it over, that's how it attaches. I put decorative paper on the front, decorative paper over my 2 magnets, and decorative paper on the opposite side, because when you flip it up you want it to be pretty. And I stuck the tab, the 1/2 inch tab, down inside of my paper. I just pulled it up where I'd already glued it down. It came up easily, and I inserted it there, and then it's going to come down like this and snap around all these other pages. Okay, and so I'm still waiting on it to dry, but I wanted to straighten it out and let you know that that's how I did that. And then I had these shells laying around that I had done. These are those ones that I cut out with the Impression Obsession die, and they do have some embossing on them that makes the nice shape. I felt like you couldn't see it, so I took my distress ink and just rubbed over it, and then rubbed some of it back off, hoping that would go down into the lines so you could see them better. And this is the seahorse out of the digital file. I made him, and I just cut him out with a pair of scissors, fussy cut him, and then I put some glossy accents over him. Now it did bubble. You kind of have to watch it, because the bubbles didn't form at first. They formed somewhere near the end, and he does have some bubbles. I don't think anybody's really going to care, but